Hello and welcome back to True Life Knowledge. Today we're going to talk about Marcus Tullius Cicero. Marcus Tullius Cicero was a Roman and he is famous for saying, "Among us you can dwell no longer." So Marcus Tullius Cicero had confirmed his reputation as an orator in 70 BC when he impeached the corrupt governor Gaius Verres. With that, we can see that corruption is not something that is new, but is in fact something that has been here for centuries. And there has always been people that have attacked corruption, and there were times when corruption was better and times when corruption was worse. And 7 years later, as consul of Rome, he foiled a conspiracy led by Lucius Catiline to raise an insurrection, set Rome on fire, and massacre the Senate. Cicero was kept informed of Catiline's plot by Fulvia, the mistress of one of the conspirators. So even mistresses are old as Rome itself. 2 days later, Cicero summoned the Senate to the temple of Jupiter in the Capitol, which Catiline had the audacity to attend. Cicero was so provoked that he addressed Catiline in the first of 4 thundering and vituperative indictments of his enemy. It is his most famous speech and was used as a school exercise in the instruction of rhetoric, even by kings for centuries. The speech given here in the translation by C.D. Young was a triumph, and Cicero played a principal part in saving Rome from a coup d'état. He convinced an incredulous Senate that the danger was real. Catiline was sentenced to execution. He refused to surrender and was killed on the battlefield the following year. When, O Catiline, do you mean to cease abusing our patience? How long is that madness of yours still to mock us? When is there to be an end of that unbridled audacity of yours, swaggering about as it does now? Do not the nightly guards placed on the Palatine Hill? Do not the watches posted throughout the city? Does not the alarm of the people and the union of all good men, does not the precaution taken of assembling the Senate in this most defensible place, do not the looks and countenances of this venerable body here present have any effect upon you? Do you not feel that your plans are detected? Do you not see that your conspiracy is already arrested and rendered powerless by the knowledge which everyone here possesses of it? What is there that you did last night? What the night before? Where is it that you were? Who was there that you summoned to meet you? What design was there which was adopted by you, with which you think that any one of us is unacquainted? Shame on the age and on its principles. The Senate is aware of these things. The consul sees them, and yet this man lives, i.e., he comes even into the Senate. He takes a part in the public deliberations. He is watching and marking down and checking off for slaughter every individual among us. And we, gallant men that we are, think that we are doing our duty to the Republic if we keep out of the way of his frenzied attacks. You ought, O Catiline, long ago to have been led to execution by command of the consul. That destruction which you have been long plotting against us ought to have already fallen on your own head. I wish, O conscript fathers, to be merciful. I wish not to appear negligent amid such danger to the state, but I do now accuse myself of remissness and culpable inactivity. A camp is pitched in Italy, at the entrance of Etruria, in hostility to the Republic. The number of the enemy increases every day. And yet the general of the camp, the leader of those enemies, we see within the walls, aye, and even in the Senate, planning every day some internal injury to the Republic. If, O Catiline, I should now order you to be arrested, to be put to death, I should, I suppose, have to fear lest all good men should say that I had acted tardily. Rather than that, anyone should affirm that I acted cruelly. But yet this, which ought to have been done long since, I have good reason for not doing as yet. I will put you to death. Then, when there shall be not one person possible to be found so wicked, so abandoned, so like yourself, as not to allow that it has been rightly done. As long as one person exists who can dare to defend you, you shall live. But you shall live as you do now, surrounded by my many and trusty guards, so that you shall not be able to stir one finger against the Republic. Many eyes and ears shall still observe and watch you, as they have hitherto done, though you shall not perceive them. For what is there, O Catiline, that you can still expect, if night is not able to veil your nefarious meetings in darkness, and if private outhouses cannot conceal the voice of your conspiracy within their walls? If everything is seen and displayed, change your mind, trust me, forget the slaughter and conflagration you are meditating. You are hemmed in on all sides. All your plans are clearer than the day to us. Let me remind you of them. Do you recollect that on the 21st of October I said in the Senate that on a certain day, which was to be 27th of October, C. Manlius, the satellite and servant of your audacity, would be in arms? Was I mistaken, Catiline? Not only in so important, so atrocious, so incredible a fact, but what is much more remarkable in the everyday. I said also in the Senate that you had fixed the massacre of the nobles for the 28th of October, when many chief men of the Senate had left Rome, not so much for the sake of saving themselves as of checking your designs. Can you deny that on that very day you were so hemmed in by my guards and my vigilance that you were unable to stir one finger against the Republic, when you said that you would be content with the flight of the rest, and the slaughter of us who remained? What? When you made sure that you would be able to seize Parianeste on the 1st of November by a nocturnal attack, did you not find that that colony was fortified by my order, by my garrison, by my watchfulness and care? You do nothing, you plan nothing, you think of nothing which I only do not hear, but which I do not see and know every particular of. Listen while I speak of the night before. You shall now see that I watch far more actively for the safety than you do for the destruction of the Republic. I said that you came to the night before. I will say nothing obscurely, into this Catiline street, to the house of Marcus Lecca, that many of your accomplices in the same insanity and wickedness came there too. Do you dare to deny it? Why are you silent? I will prove it if you do deny it, for I see here in the Senate some men who were there with you. Oh, ye immortal gods, where on earth are we? In what city are we living? What constitution is ours? There are here in our body, all conscript fathers, in this the most holy and dignified assembly in the whole world, men who meditate my death, and the death of all of us, and the destruction of the city, and of the whole world. I, the consul, see them. I ask them their opinion about the Republic, and I do not yet attack, even by words, those who ought to be put to death by the sword. You were then, O Catiline, at Lecca's that night. You divided Italy into sections. You settled where everyone was to go. You fixed whom you were to leave at Rome, whom you were to take with you. You portioned out the divisions of the city for conflagration. You undertook that you yourself would at once leave the city, and said that there was then only this to delay you, that I was still alive. 2 Roman knights were found to deliver you from this anxiety, and to promise that very night, before daybreak, to slay me in my bed. All this I knew almost before your meeting had broken up. I strengthened and fortified my house with a stronger guard. I refused admittance when they came, to those whom you sent in the morning to salute me, and of whom I had foretold to many eminent men that they would come to me at that time. As then this is the case, O Catiline, continue as you have begun. Leave the city at last. The gates are open. Depart. That manly camp of yours has been waiting too long for you as its general, and lead forth with you all your friends, or at least as many as you can. Purge the city of your presence. You will deliver me from a great fear, when there is a wall between me and you. Among us you can dwell no longer. I will not bear it. I will not permit it. I will not tolerate it. You are summoning to destruction and devastation the temples of the immortal gods, the houses of the city, the lives of all the citizens, in short, all Italy. Wherefore, since I do not yet venture to do that which is the best thing, and which belongs to my office and to the discipline of our ancestors, I will do that which is more merciful if we regard its rigor, and more expedient for the state. For if I order you to be put to death, the rest of the conspirators will still remain in the republic. If, as I have long been exhorting you, you depart, your companions, those worthless dregs of the republic, will be drawn off from the city too. What is the matter, Catiline? Do you hesitate to do that when I order you to which you were already doing of your own accord? The consul orders an enemy to depart from the city. Do you ask me, are you to go into banishment? I do not order it, but if you consult me, I advise it. For what is there, O Catiline, that can now afford you any pleasure in this city? For there is no one in it, except that band of profligate conspirators of yours. Who does not fear you? No one who does not hate you. What brand of domestic baseness is not stamped upon your life? What disgraceful circumstance is wanting to your infamy in your private affairs? From what licentiousness have your eyes? From what atrocity have your hands? From what iniquity has your whole body ever abstained? Is there one youth, when you have once entangled him in the temptations of your corruption, to whom you have not held out a sword for audacious crime, or a torch for licentious wickedness? What, when lately by the death of your former wife you had made your house empty and ready for a new bridal, did you not even add another incredible wickedness to this wickedness? But I pass that over, and willingly allow it to be buried in silence, that so horrible a crime may not be seen to have existed in this city, and not to have been chastised. I pass over the ruin of your fortune, which you know is hanging over you against the ides of the very next month. I come to those things which relate not to the infamy of your private vices, not to your domestic difficulties and baseness, but to the welfare of the republic and to the lives and safety of us all. If your parents feared and hated you, and if you could by no means pacify them, you would, I think, depart somewhere out of their sight. Now, your country, which is the common parent of all of us, hates and fears you, and has no other opinion of you than that you are meditating parricide in her case. And will you neither feel awe of her authority, nor deference for her judgment, nor fear of her power? And she, O Catiline, thus pleads with you, and after a manner silently speaks to you. There has now for many years been no crime committed but by you. No atrocity has taken place without you. You alone, unpunished and unquestioned, have murdered the citizens, have harassed and plundered the allies. You alone have had power not only to neglect all laws and investigations, but to overthrow and break through them. Your former actions, though they ought not to have been borne, yet I did bear as well as I could. But now that I should be wholly occupied with fear of you alone, that at every sound I should dread Catiline, that no design should seem possible to be entertained against me which does not proceed from your wickedness, this is no longer endurable. Depart, then, and deliver me from this fear, that, if it be a just one, I may not be destroyed; if an imaginary one, that at least I may at last cease to fear. If, as I have said, your country were thus to address you, ought she not to obtain her request, even if she were not able to enforce it? What shall I say to your having given yourself into custody? What of your having said, for the sake of avoiding suspicion, that you were willing to dwell into the house of Marcus Lepidus, and when you were not received by him, you dared even to come to me, and beg me to keep you in my house, and when you had received answer from me that I could not possibly be safe in the same house with you, when I considered myself in great danger as long as we were in the same city, you came to Quintus Metellus, the praetor, and being rejected by him, you passed on to your associate, that most excellent man Marcus Marcellus, who would be, I suppose you thought, most diligent in guarding you, most sagacious in suspecting you, and most bold in punishing you. But how far can we think that man ought to be from bonds and imprisonment, who has already judged himself deserving of being given into custody? Since, then, this is the case, do you hesitate, O Catiline, if you cannot remain here with tranquillity, to depart to some distant land and to trust your life, saved from just and deserved punishment, to flight and solitude? Make a motion, say you, to the Senate, for that is what you demand. And if this body votes that you ought to go into banishment, you say that you will obey. I will not make such a motion. It is contrary to my principles, and yet I will let you see what these men think of you. Be gone from the city, O Catiline. Deliver the republic from fear. Depart into banishment, if that is the word you are waiting for. What now, O Catiline? Do you not perceive, do you not see the silence of these men? They permit it, they say nothing. Why wait you for the authority of their words, when you see their wishes in their silence? And yet, why am I speaking? That anything may change your purpose, that you may ever amend your life, that you may meditate flight or think of voluntary banishment. I wish the gods may give you such a mind. Though I see, if alarmed at my words, you bring your mind to go into banishment, what a storm of unpopularity hangs over me, if not at present, while the memory of your wickedness is fresh, at all events hereafter. But it is worth while to incur that, as long as that is but a private misfortune of my own, and is unconnected with the dangers of the republic. But we cannot expect that you should be concerned at your own vices, that you should fear the penalties of the laws, or that you should yield to the necessities of the republic, for you are not, O Catiline, one whom either shame can recall from infamy, or fear from danger, or reason from madness. Wherefore, as I have said before, go forth, and if you wish to make me, your enemy as you call me, unpopular, go straight into banishment. I shall scarcely be able to endure all that will be said if you do so. I shall scarcely be able to support my load of unpopularity if you do go into banishment at the command of the consul. But if you wish to serve my credit and reputation, go forth with your ill-omened band of profligates. Betake yourself to Manlius, rouse up the abandoned citizens, separate yourself from the good ones, wage war against your country, exult in your impious banditti, so that you may not seem to have been driven out by me and gone to strangers, but to have gone invited to your own friends. Now, that I may remove and advert, O conscript fathers, and in the least reasonable complaint from myself, listen, I beseech you, carefully to what I say, and lay it up in your inmost hearts and minds. In truth, if my country, which is far dearer to me than my life, if all Italy, If the whole republic were to address me, Marcus Tullius, what are you doing? Will you permit that man to depart whom you have ascertained to be an enemy, whom you see ready to become the general of the war, whom you know to be expected in the camp of the enemy as their chief, the author of all this wickedness, the head of the conspiracy, the instigator of the slaves and abandoned citizens, so that he shall seem not driven out of the city by you, but let loose by you against the city? Will you not order him to be thrown into prison, to be hurried off to execution, to be put to death with the most prompt severity? What hinders you? Is it the customs of our ancestors? But even private men have often in this republic slain mischievous citizens. Is it the laws which have been passed about the punishment of Roman citizens? But in this city those who have rebelled against the republic have never had the rights of citizens. Do you fear odium with posterity? You are showing fine gratitude to the Roman people which have raised you, a man known only by your own actions, of no ancestral renown, through all the degrees of honor at so early an age to the very highest office. If from fear of unpopularity or any danger you neglect the safety of your fellow citizens. But if you have a fear of unpopularity, is it arising from the imputations of vigor and boldness, or that arising from that of inactivity and indecision most to be feared? When Italy is laid waste by war, when cities are attacked and houses in flames, do you not think that you will be then consumed by a perfect conflagration of hatred? Though there are some men in this body who either do not see what threatens, or dissemble what they do see, who have fed the hope of Catiline by mild sentiment, and have strengthened the rising conspiracy by not believing it, influenced by whose authority many, and they not wicked but only ignorant, if I punished him, would say that I had acted cruelly and tyrannically. But I know that if he arrives at the camp of Manlius, to which he is going, there will be no one so stupid as not to see that there has been a conspiracy, no one so hardened as not to confess it. But if this man alone were put to death, I know that this disease of the republic would be only checked for a while, not eradicated forever. But if he banishes himself and takes with him all of his friends, and collects at one point all the ruined men from every quarter, then not only will this full-grown plague of the republic be extinguished and eradicated, but also the root and seed of all future evils. We have now for a long time, our conscript fathers, lived among these dangers and machinations of conspiracy. But somehow or other the ripeness of all wickedness and of this long-standing madness and audacity has come to a head at the time of my consulship. But if this man alone is removed from this piratical crew, we may appear, perhaps, for a short time relieved from fear and anxiety, but the danger will settle down and lie hid in the veins and bowels of the republic. As it often happens that men afflicted with a severe disease, when they are tortured with the heat and fever, if they drink cold water, seem at first to be relieved, but afterwards suffer more and more severely. So this disease, which is the republic, if relieved by the punishment of this man, will only get worse and worse as the rest will be still alive. Wherefore, O conscript fathers, let the worthless be gone, let them separate themselves from the good, let them collect in one place, let them, as I have often said before, be separated from us by a wall. Let them cease to plot against the consul in his own house, to surround the tribunal of the city praetor, to besiege the senate house with swords, to prepare brands and torches to burn the city. Let it, in short, be written on the brow of every citizen, What are his sentiments about the Republic? I promise you this, O conscript fathers, that there shall be so much diligence in us, the consuls, so much authority in you, so much virtue in the Roman knights, so much unanimity in all good men, that you shall see everything made plain and manifest by the departure of Catiline, everything checked and punished. With these omens, O Catiline, begone to your impious and nefarious war, to the great safety of the Republic, to your own misfortunes and injury, and to the destruction of those who have joined themselves to you in every wickedness and atrocity. Then do you, O Jupiter, who were consecrated by Romulus with the same auspices as this city, whom we rightly call the stay of this city and empire, repel this man and his companions from your altars and from the other temples, from the houses and walls of the city, from the lives and fortunes of all the citizens, and overwhelm all the enemies of good men, the foes of the Republic, the robbers of Italy, men bound together by a treaty and infamous alliance of crimes, dead and alive, with eternal punishments. So, this was the attack on Catiline, one of the most famous speeches made by Marcus Tullius Cicero. I have read that he was later killed when he was defending the Republic, as I recall correctly, but this is a story for another day. I hope you enjoyed this reading of the speech and hope to see you again. I'm very thankful that you are listening to my talking and I wish you a good day.